Lesson 25, can Jesus help me see clearly? It's a great question. And we're going to dip into a long narrative of a man that Jesus healed who was born blind, John 9. We're going to have to summarize quite a bit of it. Beginning verse 1, Jesus is leaving the temple. And if you go to Jerusalem today, you can actually stand on the very spot. The southern opening to the temple is now bricked up, but you can stand on the very stones where Jesus met this man. And as they're passing by, the disciples ask a question. Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? You mean you can sin in utero? The rabbis believed you could. And their proof text was Jacob, who latched on to Esau's heel as if to try to kill him. And so the disciples are getting caught up in this kind of theological debate. I've seen this over and over again. Students take a Bible class or they go to a Bible study, and all of a sudden they're know-it-alls and they want to get in these deep theological debates. It's foolish. What matters is not what you know, but what you can do to improve the lives of people around you. And that's basically Jesus' response, verse 3. It was not that this man sinned, or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. And perhaps you think that's cruel, that God would create someone blind so that later in his life he could be healed to God's glory. But that's not what Jesus is talking about. You see, we think Jesus is still on the why question. The disciples ask why. Why was he born blind? Whose fault was it? How do we attribute this sin? Jesus isn't asking why, he's asking who. Who can help this man now? And the answer, obviously, is Jesus. He spits on the ground, makes mud. The ancients believed that saliva could have healing properties from the healer. And he tells the man, I want you to go to Siloam. It's about a half mile away, down a steep hill. It's dangerous for a blind guy. I want you to go to Siloam and wash. The word Siloam means sent. So check this out. The man was sent to wash, to see. And in fact, that is my story as well, probably yours. And when he goes back home, verse 8, he sees his neighbors, and the neighbors just they recognize him, but he sees, so it can't be the same guy. And so they ask, well, how were you healed? Verse 10, how were you healed? Well, the guy put mud on my eyes, and he sent me to wash, to see. And now I do. And they just can't believe it. So they say in verse 12, well, where is this guy? How would I know? I was blind. And I went to wash, to see. So they take him to the Pharisees because the day was the Sabbath. They're very concerned about this. And they know that there is kind of a warrant out for Jesus' arrest. And anyone who is complicit with Jesus could be excommunicated. And when you're kicked out of the synagogue, there goes your business, there goes your family, there goes your friends, there goes your faith. It was a super high cost. So they take the young man to the Pharisees and they begin to investigate him. Some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. But others said, how can a man who is a sinner do such signs? And there was division among them. Even though the man now for a second and third time explains how Jesus did it, they just can't accept it. So they call the man's parents in. Verse 19. And they ask them the same question. How? How was your son, who was supposedly born? They go, no, he was born blind. He is our son. He was born blind. But how? We don't know. We know that this is our son, they said, and that he was born blind. But how he now sees, we do not know, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him, he is of age. He will speak for himself. Now, you might think this is cruel, that they are disowning their son, basically. I don't know that's really what's happening. You see, if they get kicked out of the synagogue, like he's going to be out. They see the train going down that track. The son is going to be out. If they're out too, who will support him? Who will provide food, clothes, friendship, love? So I don't know they're being cruel as much as just playing the best cards they have. They bring the man back in again and interrogate him again. And they're asking about what he believes about Jesus. And he says, "Why, this is an amazing thing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, God listens to him. Never, since the world began, has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a man born blind." And that was all it took. They kicked him out. Jesus finds him later. Of course, the man doesn't recognize Jesus because, well, he was blind. And Jesus said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered, "And who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" And Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and it is he who is speaking to you." He said, "Lord, I believe." And he worshiped him. And Jesus said, "For judgment I came into the world, that those who do not see may see, and those who see may become blind." Just an observation. A lot of people who think they are well-informed, intelligent, sophisticated, look at Jesus and they negate him. Like that's religion, or that's faith, or Christianity, the Bible, and they just make accusations. Here's what I know. I was blind, but he sent me to wash, to see. And now I'm sent to tell others about him. It really is that simple. Who else can bring light into your life? And if he can do that, I don't care what the other theological questions are, I'm all in.